are building. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to build it right. Now, I don't mean jumping on the AI and this to build yet. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about before you even get there, when that idea comes to your mind, before you go telling everybody about it, before you go dropping everything into ChatGPT, trying to expand your idea, before you do all that, how do you protect the idea that you have? How do you make sure that that idea is uniquely yours, right? Protecting your IP. How do you make sure that once you put that information, that idea onto the web, that it is safe and secure? I'm not the person to speak on how to build it right, but we have some lovely people in the room who will talk about exactly what we are gonna build and how to do it the right way. So the first person we have is Miss Taylor McGhee. She is the founder of the Patent Fund. We also have someone tonight that's going to talk to us about cybersecurity, right? Making sure that once you put it out there that it is safe, not just dropped in a drive and Google's doing this thing, but like what are those extra levels of protection? And that person is Mr. Jahfar Campbell.
I can give one of the best things to do before even having that idea is what we recently learned is trademarking and making sure that your name is even able to be taken in that space so that you don't have any legal implications at all. Right now, we just did a rebranding and we just rebranded over to TechRa. So TechRa is our new company. But the thing is with that, if you go and look up TechRa, it's owned by a printing company. Now, the printing company, they have no affiliation in the IT space or the IT realm, so we're safe to do that. But they also wordmark the name.
CloudBot. So it was originally CloudBot, then Maltbot. Now it's OpenClaw, I believe. And so because of the similarities with Claude, and Anthropic owns Claude as a trademark, they sent them a nice friendly email saying basically cease and desist, and they had to change their name and they had to do a full rebrand. And it just goes to show you that protecting early could, that case ended up being very friendly, but in other cases, these big corporations, they can sue you for millions of dollars, and I've seen that happen to a lot of founders. So
So building on that, right? What part of an idea, brand, or product are actually truly protectable?
So I would say that it's kind of tricky because there's 4 different lanes of IP. So if you want to protect your brand or your brand name, you want a trademark. If you have an invention or a new product that's unique, you want a patent. If you're working on some creative works like artworks or like you're writing a book, you want a copyright. And then if you're building something as a tech founder and you don't want to disclose how you're building that or the systems or processes, you want to make that a trade secret.
Some of the biggest things can be, honestly, we're going back to access, but more so action with the access, which is, hey, the data, where is the data being stored? Do we have the data sitting in our personal Gmail accounts? Do we have it in our personal Outlook accounts? Are we paying for the business licenses? How many of you guys own a business and are still using your gmail.com or your outlook.com? Zero trust is a IT term that we use as cybersecurity specialists to denote when do we give somebody access and how much access. So we work off of zero trust and work off of least privilege, which means that, hey, if you are the offshore person gets treated the same as a complete stranger every single time. If you are the owner and the co-founder of the company, you get treated as a stranger every single time when it comes to 3 things: authentication, authorization, and auditing.
I know that some of the CloudBot's here, and I know that's a brand new AI agent just got released in the market. If you know about it, you know that it's leaked quite a few API keys and you can get easily hacked on that regard. I feel like it's very powerful to use, but I feel like on that regard? If you want to use it, what is the best way to use it to make sure that your assets and your IP are safe?
Unless they patch those vulnerabilities, I likely wouldn't want to use it. I mean, you got to ask yourself, what's the risk you want to take? You know, how much risk can you endure until you go insolvent, you don't have a business, or you get your identity stolen? Because it's API based and it's automatically going out to the internet. So no, wait till vulnerabilities get patched.
Building their empire for their family or their community, how do you pass it on when you're no longer here? How do you keep that intellectual property within the family or the community or nonprofit organization that you want to continue to receive the benefits of having that?
I know that there's ways while you're alive to leverage patents and trademarks by licensing, you know, doing those kind of things that can help you build that generational wealth. And really turn your idea into an asset.
Accounts for people working on my whatever that gives them limited access to what I want them to work on. And also, I control their passwords so that when they're done working, I delete their whole account. Is that something that you would say is okay or not okay?
It depends on the industry. So if you're in an industry that requires compliance, or you do have a compliance framework that you work with, whether it's HIPAA or your SOC 2 or your GDPR or CMMC, the deletion part would be the part where you not do. So everything else,
Deletion as in deleting their account?
deleting their account. So unless you have your proper retention policies in place and whatever, in whatever architecture you're working in, whether it's Microsoft or Google Workspace, if you don't have that retention enabled, when you delete that account, more often than not, after 30 days, everything is going to be gone.